What are some psychological life hacks you can do to give you an advantage in situations? Pay attention to people's feet. If you approach two people in the middle of a conversation and they only turn their torsos and not their feet, they don't want you to join in the conversation. Similarly, if you are in a conversation with a coworker who you think is paying attention to you and their torso is turned towards you, but their feet are facing in another direction, they want the conversation to end. You should check out Carol Kinsey-Gammon's research on these types of things in the workplace. What if they don't want to talk to you because all you ever do is look at their feet? I don't trust a man that can look me in the feet. Foot in the door phenomenon. People are more likely to agree to do a task for you if you ask them to do something simpler first. Gradual commitment is a crazy thing. I've seen it happen and there is nothing you can do. Hey man, can you give me change for $1? When I worked in retail, I had a tendency to get real curt with rude customers. When I realized I was just taking the bait, I decided to be super nice. Some of them would get even crazier and they looked like tools. Kill them with kindness. Legit. When a group of people laugh, people will instinctively look at the person they feel closest to in that group. Want to know who wants to bone who? Look at who they look at when everyone laughs. People will remember not what you said, but how you made them feel. Also, most people like talking about themselves, so ask lots of questions about them. Always be honest, so when you have to lie, people will believe you. I've heard something similar as, with liars, at least you know to never trust them, but when someone is honest, you just never know when they lie. If you ask someone a question and they only partially answer, just wait. If you stay silent and keep eye contact, they will usually continue talking. My boss does this. Making excuses for being late was brutal. Me, I'm sorry I'm late. Car trouble. Silence. And terrible traffic. Silence. I overslept. Silence. I'll work late tonight. Boss, I own you. If you get yourself to be really happy and excited to see other people, they will react the same to you. It doesn't always happen the first time, but it will definitely happen next time. The man's best friend effect. The moment your alarm wakes you up, immediately react by sitting up, pump your fists and shout, yeah! Edit, yes, I do this. You should too. Yeah. Hit snooze. This man speaks the truth. I learned this on here a few years ago. For anyone in customer service, or works for many different situations, but CS is a big one. Put a mirror behind you at the counter. This way angry customers who approach you will have to see themselves in the mirror behind you, and the chances of them behaving irrationally lower significantly. No one wants to see themselves act like a head. This is one of the reasons why many bars install large mirrors behind them. The main reason is so the bartender can see who is where, and if any new customer approach at all times, but there are other reasons as well. If you are ever attending bar and a customer approaches you directly and starts getting upset or angry, just take a deep breath and step slightly to either side and lean on the bar using either your right or left elbow only. If you move your head out of the way just fast enough to break eye contact, they will be briefly forced to stare at themselves. Even if you don't move fast enough, peripheral vision always seems to notice that familiar face. Also, leaning in puts you in a position of power for quite a few reasons. Only the proudest of assholes are immune. Chew gum when you're approaching a situation that would make you nervous, like public speaking or bungee jumping. I can't remember where I heard it, but apparently if we are eating something in our brain strip, and it reasons I wouldn't be eating if I were danger, so I'm not in danger, has helped calm me a few times. Stand up straight, no slouching, hands out of pockets, and head held up high. It's not just a cliché, you literally feel better and people around you feel more confident in you. Not always a must, but try to dress well for important occasions, including interviews. If you look good, you feel good, and if you feel good, you'll do good. In a negotiation setting, always start by anchoring, meaning start on a more radical extreme end of what you expect to get. That way, you and the other side can work to that result, rather than you locking yourself out of it. Avoid saying I think and I believe, unless absolutely necessary. These are phrases that do not evoke confidence, and will literally do you no good. When playing a game of cards with casual players, mutter to yourself the exact opposite of what you want to happen. So if you want your opponent to fold, then mutter, please don't fold, please don't fold. An overwhelming amount of times, the opponent will fall for the bait. When feeling anxious, clean up your house apartment. You will feel happier and more accomplished than before. From an academic standpoint, this is mostly just armchair psychology, but from a real-world standpoint, these have all worked very well in my personal and professional lives. When you first meet people, try to notice their eye color while also smiling at them. It might be because you look for a second or two longer, but all I can tell you is that people really respond to it. Every one of these, that's pretty good. I keep imagining a socially awkward Reddit user just completely f***ing it up. The physical effects of stress, increased breathing rate, heart rate, etc. mirror identically the physical effects of courage. So when you're feeling stress from any situation, immediately reframe it. Your body is getting ready to do courage. It's not feeling stress. For interviews, I recommend altering your psychological state beforehand. Tell yourself, I've known these people all my life. We're old friends catching up. I can't wait to see them. Visualize the experience. Shaking hands, making eye contact, having conversation. What things can you not wait to tell them? Hold an open pose. Stand with your legs apart, hands on your hips, and shoulders back while doing this, and smile. This may sound cliché, but you're in charge of your own psychological state and the power of suggestion is strong. After a person breaks up with someone, they're at their most vulnerable state of manipulation because of the flood of emotions. This could be used for the good or evil purposes. False attribution of arousal. When you take somebody out on a first date, take them somewhere exciting that will get their heart beating. Roller coaster or horror film. This gets their adrenaline up. It makes them think they enjoy spending time with you rather than the activity. In sales, though I guess it could be applied in other ways. Once you make the sales pitch, don't say anything else. My boss at an old job was training me and just giving me pointers. I was working at a gym trying to sell memberships. He told me that once I got all the small talk out of the way and presented the prices, that the first person to talk will lose. It didn't seem like a big deal, but it actually worked. Often there were long periods of awkward silence as the person tried to come up with some excuse, but usually they bought. It was quite impressive actually. If you make the biggest smile you can, you will automatically feel happier. Call center workers. Smile a lot. It will come through to the person on the other end of the line, and less people will be asked to you. Refer to people you've just met by their name. People loving being referred to by their name, and it will establish a sense of trust and friendship right away. Say your friend introduced you to Peter. After 5 minutes he decided to leave. Don't just say bye, but instead say bye Peter. Make it a practice to get rid of filler words and phrases such as like, you know, etc. Instead, use short pauses to gather your thoughts before speaking, though avoid Shatner-style pauses. Using filler words keys whoever you are talking to that you are thinking about what you are saying. Leaving them out makes these thinking spots less noticeable, since you aren't essentially announcing to the world that you are thinking, and makes you seem more sure of yourself. This has been posted before, but if you want to stare at someone unashamedly, look directly past them and wait for them to try and meet your eyes. When they fail to do that, they'll look around, usually nervously for a second, and won't look at you again for some time. This is your chance to straight up stare at this person for at least 45 seconds. No matter what happens, remember to breathe unless you're underwater. If you are in a group meeting and you suspect that someone in there might come after you about something, sit right next to them. They were hoping that the group would provide some sort of hair defense. But if you are right next to them, it can be anything other than personal. This tends to make them back off, or at least substantially temper what they say. I remember the last time this thread showed up. Someone posted that if you ask someone to do you a small favor, cognitive dissonance will make them believe that because they did that favor, they therefore must like you. After all, why would they help someone they disliked? I don't have a source unfortunately, but I believe the original comment did if anyone can find the previous thread. You are in control of your emotions and thoughts. Try replacing some immediate responses. Tell yourself you're happy about something or you're excited. Eventually your brain will end up believing it. That's the same for being down, and that's why you should never try to diagnose yourself. Saying you are depressed or having social anxiety would end up with you being more anxious and more depressed. You won't notice it at first, but over a few months it will have a pretty noticeable effect on your personality. The best one I ever heard was, apparently, if you have a warm hand when you shake somebody's hand, you immediately become a more desirable person to get along with. Thanks a lot for watching, and don't forget to watch other videos.